Joining me in the room podcast to recap his TKO finish at NEF 52 a couple of weekends ago is Joe Peters. What's up, my man? First time on the show. Welcome, my man.
Hi, I'm doing great. It's really happy to be on here, and I've had a lot of teammates on here, so I'm pretty excited.
Excellent. You come out of KTA, my man. I've had your coach Walter and Joey Gomez on here, man. You're out of a great camp there. Two great coaches, man. Let's get to that first. How excited are you to be under the wings of two, proven veteran MMA fighters in New England and out?
I mean, I love them both to death, and they do nothing but want to see me and every other fighter we have succeed. And they do, I mean, they really just breed excellence. They push us every single time,
How
no
long?
matter what.
How long have you been training with KTA and those guys?
3 years. 3 years.
3 years.
Active in MMA for a little over a year now, but I've been with them for three.
So before then, was there any other martial arts experience, or did you just jump in the gym and
Um,
get in shape, and then all of a sudden you're a fighter?
I grew up doing a little bit of like traditional martial arts, so that kind of like breeded the love for it in me. And then for a brief period of time, I was a boxer down at Haverhill downtown, and that's like where I really like learned how to like scrap and throw. But where I started to really become a refined fighter and athlete was with my coaches at KCA.
Well, your first fight was an amateur kickboxing fight back at Combat Zone back in 2021. Did
Yeah,
you have any smokers, any boxing amateur boxing matches, or anything before that? Before that kickboxing match?
I had a couple amateur boxing matches at freaking super heavyweight. I didn't want to go. I was fighting. I was like 230 pounds going up against 300-pound dudes. So I'm not. I don't really give a shit about size. And then we did do some smokers before I had that kickboxing match just to get me affiliated with competition.
Well, I think one of my guys, Travis Lazat, interviewed you before that kickboxing. I think it was a 190-pound bout there.
I think it was 205.
205. So from
Yeah.
205, your last fight was around 180 pounds. You actually fought a welterweight fight in between an MMA fight, man. Where exactly, where do you want to be in your weight, or is that still kind of, up in the air as far as in your progression here?
I'm definitely cool with fighting at 170. I just as long if I fought at 170 and you fought at 170, I'm fine with doing a catch weight. Um, I don't really. If you're a 185er trying to fight me, I was like, well, I don't know what you're trying to go for there. But I'm good with catch weights because then we don't have to kill ourselves. But if you want me to make 170, I'll make 170.
Well, that 170 scrap was for NEF. You didn't come out with a win, but you looked great in that fight. Looked like almost, could have been an early stoppage in that fight. As far as the 170-pound fight, how do you feel fighting at 170 compared to 180 and 185?
Honestly, I felt fine. It's really just about refueling and rehydrating and doing your cut correctly. Like I felt pretty good in that. It was more stressful to get to 170 for the first time because I never seen my body do it. But then once I did it and I like took care of myself, I felt great. I really wasn't worried about that. And I would say it was an early stop. My opponent Ed Davis was a game dude. He fights at 155 now, great guy. But even he says it's an early stop. And that shit happens at amateur. You get over it and you get better.
Well, my man, since that fight, you had, I think, a couple more fights. Came away with a unanimous decision loss, and then, of course, this third round TKO. Coming out of those two losses in a row, what did you work on, and what did you, kind of fix in your game heading into this last fight at NEF?
I'll be real. It honestly was more mental work, really, than anything. Is the skill levels like I've been taught how to do everything everywhere. When it comes to getting ready for a fight, Walter says this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to prep, and I just execute it. My biggest issue was not doing that. Really, it was like getting too caught up in like sometimes I get caught up in wanting a good fight more than I want to win, and that working on that to be a professional to do the job. That's what I always say to myself is I'm like I'm going to do the job, and that made a world of a difference going in there being like I'm not just fighting, I'm doing my goddamn job.
Well, going into this fight, spectacular fight, a dominant fight, the whole fight, man. How'd you feel in there, with that new kind of, mindset going in there? I mean, it's paid off, but, as you're in there, what was your mindset in there? And was it the job? I got to do this job because at the end of the day, you did it.
It was just confidence. It was just I know what I'm going to do to start. I've never been really a nerved up fighter. I'm very lucky with that is that I get some nerves, but I don't get overwhelmed. So for me, it's like I feel ready, I feel good, and then it's like we touch, and I'm just like, all right. I get a feel for what their pace is going to be, and then as soon as I get my hands on you from that point forward, like I'm all day, man. Like I'll go all day. I'll grind you down. I don't care. I know there at a certain point, I just know like once I've executed enough, like I won. Like I just before the fight's over, I know I won.
Well, in that fight, you had some great moments up until the end of that fight. The second round, you almost finished him there. When did you feel in that fight that you had already won, or you took it over, and you were pretty confident you were gonna sail through with a win?
Beginning of second round, when I took him down and started smashing his face in, that was when I was like, okay, yep, done. I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing this.
Here in your corners, was that the game plan going against this guy? I mean, you fought a dude that was 2-0. You're going in there, you're coming off a loss. So, what was the coaches saying to you during that? Were you following kind of what they were saying, or were you in your own zone, kind of doing your own thing in there?
I followed exactly what the game plan was. Is like we prepped to be able to do that. Uh, you know, that's what Walter said to me. He said, "This dude's probably going to try and take you to the wall. You're going to reverse it. You're going to grind him, and you're going to do your job." And that's exactly what I did.
First time fighting at the Aura, small cage in there, crowds right in your face, up above, level with you, man. How'd you feel fighting in that atmosphere, and did it fire you up in there? Because the crowd is loud in that smaller spot.
I honestly thought it was pretty fun. I'll be honest. Like, I know, it depends on who you are, but I honestly, like, I kind of liked being like right there and elevated. It was kind of a gladiator pit type deal. You got people from the bottom, the side, the up top. It made me feel really like with the crowd.
Well, as far as your opponent, you guys fought at a catch weight, I do believe 180, but he came in heavier. As far as I was watching your post-fight interview. Did that have any effect on your mind? Like, what was your thought going in there? Did the game plan change a little bit going against a little heavier dude in there?
I mean, I was ready to strike a bit more, but the dude, like, kind of just like with like he must have been like 205, 210, but like he definitely had a weight advantage. I was like, all right, guy. I took the fight. Like he showed up 10 pounds overweight, and I was like, fuck you. I'll fight you anyway. I don't care. I'm gonna win. I know I will win. Let's do this. And I just basically, I did what my coach said. If you feel you're in an area that's not strong, switch to the area you're strong. And I just went, okay, he wants to walk through at his weight. That's fine. I'm just gonna fucking reverse it.
Well, third round, you ground and pounded him to death there. Got the win. What was that feeling like? Because you had a couple of tough fights before that. That one with Ed Davis, and then you went the distance on your next fight. What was the feeling like getting that win? This time around in dominant fashion.
It felt good. It felt good to get it, but it felt deserved, and it felt like I knew it was coming. It felt like I said, I felt very professional in the sense that like I knew what I was supposed to do. I knew I was going to do it, and you can tell me you're going to stop me from doing it, but in my opinion, you're not.
So you had a few guys, training partners on that card. You guys did pretty well as a team. What was the feeling like going in there, knowing that you had a bunch of other training partners, right alongside you, and you got to root them on as the same as them rooting you on.
I mean, I fucking love every single one of my teammates, and I love when we fight together. Um, of course, like you got to have those cards where you fight on your own, and that's like part of the business, and that's its own beast. But there's just something you got to love about training with your teammates, doing a camp together, blood pushing each other, cutting the weight together, and then fucking eating together, sleeping, doing all of that shit, and then you get to see everyone succeed. Like that was the biggest thing for me. Like it's always like you want to win not just for you but for everyone there.
Well, coming out of that fight, looked like you came out healthy. It looks like you're resting up right now. News is that you got another fight coming next month. Talking to a few of your coaches, and I think you have some more training partners that you're going to be in camp with that are going to be on the same card. You're fighting at Combat Zone 80 next month, the end of June, man. It seems you're staying busy, man. Looking at your record, you're fighting every 3 to 4 months. You were supposed to have a fight in between that was canceled, so you would still
Yeah.
be fighting, constantly, man. What's the feeling like this time, man? You have that confidence, you have that win under your belt, and you're going back to Combat Zone where you actually got your start. It was in kickboxing, but that was the first place you had your amateur fight. What's the feeling like getting back in there?
It feels great, it feels good because like I said, the mindset just clicked recently, and like I'm there to do my job. I know what I'm going to be told to do, and I'm going to execute it accordingly. You can try and stop me, but I'm not going to let you. And that's the confidence I'm carrying. I'm doing my job. I'm going into this. I love Combat Zone. I love fighting on the card. I love what the show they put on. They treat you right. They do it all good, and I can't wait. I'm happy to see a lot of my boys and stuff fighting on the card. We got MMA, we got kickboxing, we got debuts, and it's going to be a great show.
Now, what I would imagine, KTA is in New Hampshire. You would have probably a lot more fans at the Combat Zone because NEF is a little ways away. What are you expecting as far as crowd and people coming to root for you guys? Because there's a few of you on this card.
I'm pretty confident a good third to half the crowd's going to be us, man. I'm going to have a lot of people myself there, so pretty confident my opponent also brings a good crowd. So I honestly think we probably might have best fight of the night.
Well, speaking of opponent, we'll get to that. Are you going to be fighting, a catch weight? What's your weight around at this point going into here?
I'm about 190, and we're going to do a 175.
Okay, okay. So, God, full throttle ahead here. Um, who are you fighting, and what do you know about him?
I'm pretty sure it's Ozzy Martin. I know that he likes to scrap. I know he likes to come out hard. I know he's coming off a knockout win, and I've seen him fight in his first fight. I know that he brings a crowd, and I know that he brings energy. And so I looked at that, and from the first time I saw him fight in November, I went, I want to fight him. That was my coach said we're gonna fight him, and I was like, good, let's fucking do it. So this has been in the making for me and him.
Excellent. Well, I didn't know it was Ozzy Martin, but like you said, he's coming from a huge knockout at Cage Titans. His knockout went viral, so he's got a lot of eyes on him. He's 2-0. I think he probably has a couple of, they're both finishes, man. What are you looking to do in there? Just scrap. I mean, looking at your past fights, you're full throttle. You go balls to the wall right ahead. You're not afraid to throw. You're not afraid to grapple. What are you expecting in this fight against Ozzy?
I think he's gonna come out hard, and I'm gonna match his pace. And I think at the end of the day, Walter's gonna tell me we're gonna do X, Y, Z, and I'm gonna execute X, Y, Z. Do my job.
Now, as far as getting ready here, you have no rest. I mean, you have to cut down to 175. You just had a fight, a week and a half ago, if that. You're back in the cage in a month, about a month, a little over a month, man. You get any rest? Like, it looks like you're rested now, but is this it for you? Like, it's full throttle right back,
Yeah. I took my week. I took my week to rest and enjoy myself, see those I love. But I love what I do. I walked out of this fight super clean. I wasn't hurt at all, and I'm just like, all right. I was game to do it right away. I was like, let's do this.
So not to get way ahead, it's this will be almost the halfway mark of the year. How busy are you looking to stay? Looking at your record, you fight all the time. How busy you looking to stay by the end of 2023? And is there, the light at the end of the tunnel of wanting to go pro, by the end of the year, maybe early 2024? Or are you content just getting work as an amateur at this point?
For us, it's always about building and making sure you get to the point where you feel like a professional and you execute as such. What we're looking for is we're looking to get this fight done. I'm going to put another win in my column. We're going to take some time off to develop and evolve further because that's what we do. We like to fight. and then evolve and then come back, get a couple more fights, and ideally, I'd love to be able to go pro by 2024, but it comes down to my coach's wisdom and what they think is best.
And as far as that, is there any pro fighters out of KTA, or are you guys all amateurs at this point?
We have a few. We have a few pro fighters.
Oh,
We have
okay.
John McNeil. We have Jeff Reynolds, and I think we have a couple others coming up right now. So yeah, we're getting into a mixed bag.
Excellent, my man. Well, last thing, my bro, shout outs, anything you want to, say before this fight. I'll interview you, in a couple of weeks while, once it's set in stone and posters are out and stuff like that, we'll talk about your training camp leading into this. But, anything you want to say, shout outs, sponsors, if you have any, and social media so people can follow you getting ready for this big fight.
All right. Shout out. Social media is all day JGP, no spaces, all lowercase. Shout out to the sponsors who support me in the gym and everything. Cameron Chiropractic, best chiropractor and cryotherapy you can get. Shout out to First Harvest Hemp, who give us all the best recovery we need. Shout out to Ben Center, who's a phenomenal dude in his trucking company. Shout out to Steve Paquette and Seacoast Wholesale, who always supports me and helps me with my shirts. Shout out to every sponsor we have. Shout out to Brad Watts and his studio and his film crew, and just 8191 Studios, who does media for us as well. And shout out to my team, my coaches, and everybody I love and care about.
Excellent, my man. Well, the team and fighters at individuals there are doing great, man. I love to see it. I'm happy for Walter and Joey and all you guys and girls there, man. You're doing great things. KTA is definitely on the map. And, man, they're bringing it, man. Staying busy. And I can't wait to see what's next. We'll be watching that fight. We'll have a crew down at Combat Zone doing play-by-plays and trying to get some interviews with you guys. So until I talk to you again, maybe in a couple of weeks, Joe, man, pleasure finally getting to know you and, seeing the progression in your game, man. It looks great. You look great that last fight, and I love what you're doing out there.
All right. Nice to meet you, my guy, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
All right, my man. Tell Walter and Joey, man, I said hi, and, we'll be chatting with them again down the line. But you have a good training camp, bro, and we'll talk real soon.
Of course. You too, man.